Hello everybody watching. This is the Creative Burrows Gaming channel. My name is Isaac, and welcome back to my Let's Play Factorio series for version 0.17.experimental. Last time we were here, I had just established a very basic automation setup to build conveyor belts, green circuits, and to automate science. For this episode, what I want to do is automate my mining, expand my electrical production to facilitate all the manufacturing I intend to do, and to ultimately end up researching green science packs simultaneously. I'm not sure how far we'll get in that today, but I do hope to get most of the way there. Now we have where we want our electrical to be situated. That's already planned out. And since we have our iron and copper down here, I'm going to be drawing upon these to be the main suppliers of my starter base. And right now I'm just trying to determine where I want to put that base. And looking at everything, what I think I want to do is I want to run this starter base off to the side, hopefully, and run it over here close to the coal patch. That way when I start my smelting, I can put it up over here. So let's see if I can get on that. Now, I don't have very many stone furnaces, but what I have will suffice, I think. I don't have very many electric miners, and right now, compared to what I want to achieve, I don't have very much. But I think I can still get it done in about the next 25 minutes, hopefully. Because the great thing about Factorio is the more you build, the more you can build. And the faster you can build it. So this episode I'm going to see about putting that to the test, especially with my skills. And trying to get as much of this accomplished as I can. So, with the lack of stone furnaces, I think in the last episode I mentioned that I was going to need approximately... and where are we? Sorry about that, trying to figure out why we're not getting any gears over here. 200 conveyor belts for the moment are plenty. So I'm going to stop gear production going to the conveyor belts so that I can start feeding my research again. And what I'm going to need is to set up something here on the stone to start building furnaces for me. I don't have the time, if I want to get this done in 20 minutes, to build every furnace myself. And I'm just going to steal some coal out of these furnaces here to keep this miner going so I can keep copper coming in. And so with that iron, I'm going to set up 3 coal burning miners. And good, I have enough for 1 assembly machine. And I'm going to establish my furnace factory. And this is going to be done by placing down an assembler. We'll set it to stone furnaces, and then I'm going to set up 3 coal burning miners to feed that furnace. And I did forget the one key factor, which is that I'm going to have to, let's get turrets just in case, and then we'll get green science. The logistics science packs, we'll research how to build those. And then I think I want to do steel so I can get the steel pick. So I can break things down and build things up faster. And then we'll set up for increase physical damage so that my turrets and my SMG will be able to do as much damage as possible so I don't end up using more ammunition than necessary. Now the great thing about this assembly machine is that it will store furnaces within itself, so I don't have to worry about an output box necessarily. If I wanted to, it's not a problem to set up. I just put a box there, put an assembler going from the an inserter, pardon me, going from the assembly machine to the chest, restricted to just one stack, so it doesn't overbuild at any given moment. And then I just let it get on with what I've assigned it to do. Everything else there is building up fine, so now it's just a matter of getting the raw resources. And while the furnaces are building, I'm going to try to lay out kind of how I want this starter base to move. And we have logistics, so I'm going to get some splitters and some underground belts, and I'm going to build a lot more inserters. I'm going to need every single one of those, and then some. But for the starter base, I don't need that many. And so I'm going to start trying to plan out where I want this starter base to go and how I want it to get there. Actually, change of plans. And this will happen, I think, quite a bit as I go through this playthrough, but I think I'm going to put my starter base right over here. So, I think I'm going to have my output line for my smelters going right there, an input line right here, and I think I'm going to make this side my iron line. And so I have 7 smelters right there. What I want is 24, so I'm going to plot out this with the overlap of 1, that'll give me 13. And then all I have to do is copy 11, put that end to end, and that should give me 24. And I'm just using Control-C for the copy tool right now, and looking down at the bottom because that will give me a count. Now, if you've noticed something that maybe I didn't at first, I misaligned where I placed everything. I'm okay with that actually, because when I go to place it, I'll make sure to place everything in a line. Right now, I'm just trying to plan out how much space I'm going to need. So we'll run the conveyor belt down. We'll realize that these trees are definitely going to get in the way of anything I might want to build here. There we go. So let's see how many furnaces we have. 27 furnaces. That's almost exactly what I need. And so I'm just going to go down. There we go. There's the end of the line. I need 8 furnaces on the copper side. Part of this is through testing. Part of this is, I don't want to say intuition. I'm kind of going by the touchstone that I'm going to need about 3 times as much iron as I will copper in this starter base. So I'm not trying to make anything super complicated. Yeah, if I have 24 furnaces, because that'll fill up 1/2 of a yellow belt, which is information you can get from the Factorio wiki. That's where I get most of my information when I need to do research. Try to figure out how much material I need for any given production value. But you can go to the Factorio wiki. It'll tell you what the throughput of these belts are, and for yellow belts it's 15 items a second. And if you go look up stone furnaces, it'll tell you that 48 stone furnaces will fill one entire belt. And so 48 will fill one entire belt, but I only need half of it. And 24 will fill the other half. And since I only want 3 times as much iron as copper, or 1/3 as much copper as iron, then if I have 24 iron furnaces, I only need 8 copper furnaces. And that's my thinking on it anyways. In the couple of test runs in 0.7 I've run, this has worked fantastically. Maybe not brilliantly, but it is definitely taking care of everything I've asked it to. So now I'm going to go back over, and this starter base is almost finished. I'm not going to be using this little starter manufacturer for much longer, but I do still need to use it for a bit. So now I'm going to reconnect the gears back up to my conveyor belts so I can get those manufacturing again, since my science is being taken care of, hopefully. And right now this is very slow, and this is why I want to get the starter base set up, is so that I can build this much faster. But like I said, for that I need the raw resources at the very least. I already have all the furnaces I need, so I'm not going to worry about refilling those coal miner or those coal burners mining the stone. I will need furnaces later, but I'll have plenty of time to work that out. Right now, what I really need, besides more assemblers, is going to be assembling machines. And most definitely, electric mining drills. So with this setup, what I think I'm going to do is, well, I have plenty of inserters, so I'm going to insert, or set up the inserters for the feed side of my iron smelting here. Because just like we do with the coal burners, when we have those set up, the furnaces will store their output up to a certain point. And I'll do just like I did on my coal burners, and run by and pick them up until I have enough inserters built that I can have them automatically outputting. And since I have 7 left, I'll do it for the copper side too, because as soon as I can get raw resources, and the faster I can get that going, then the faster I can get this base built. And so here, we're just going to establish the copper, incorrectly I might add. That happens, no big deal, just pick it right back up, set it back down where it needs to be, and go on about the day. So, there we are, max distance, and now we have all the coal flowing. And here, I'm going to use these wonderful splitters. You've already seen me kind of pre-place a splitter, and you can see how it flows out into 2 lines. So I'm going to do the same thing with the coal here. I'm going to split that off, and I'm going to use that when I have enough conveyor belts to automatically feed into my smelting lines for copper and iron. Alright, pick up more iron, pick up more copper, build more electric mining drills, and I'm going to place those electric mining drills I'm going to build right now down on my iron, so I can start feeding iron into this. Since I already have coal flowing, I don't want to waste any more time, because right now I have 24 excuse me, I have 24 smelters here, or furnaces, whereas on my other patch over there, I only have 4 going at a time. I would much rather be producing off of 24 at any given moment than I would be stuck only with 4. So there's our electric mine, well, electric miners, to be a bit more precise in my language. And I want to line these up as close as I can to this copper patch without contaminating my iron output. And what I like to use for a ratio for this is, also, once again, like everything I research, it's derived straight from the wiki. And the ratio I've come up with is that for a full belt of ore on a yellow belt, what one needs is 30 electric miners. We're running at the base rate with no modifiers and all of that, of course. But I need roughly 30 electric miners to fill a belt. So if I'm only looking to fill half, I need 15. Well, right now I've got 11. And while that won't get every furnace moving, what it will do is at least get some of them going. And that is probably one of the most fantastic misclicks I've had in a while. At least everything was aligned and going in the right direction. So get some more transport belts. Definitely going to need some more iron for this, since transport belts are 100% iron. And while I'm worrying about this, I think, yep, we'll just start hooking up our electric poles. One less thing to do later on. And that is, you know what? I'll let it be just one space apart. It's more important to get it hooked up right now than it is to do anything else. And I'm just going to handcraft some conveyor belts here. Get those put out, and there we go. And now I do have to drop electricity down for these miners so that they can function and kind of balance out the belt so we have ore on both sides. And I'm just checking over here. Okay, I've got 26 furnaces. So even though I didn't do everything I possibly could by refilling those coal burner miners on the stone, I still have easily half a line or a smelting array's worth of furnaces there for later on. So I'll be able to start building at that point. And we'll just keep this going as long as I can. Or as long as I want to, really, now at this point. Since I can just do this and collect so much more iron at any given second. Simply because I have more stone furnaces producing iron at any given second. And so now the time is limited for these coal burners on iron and copper. And, you know, looking at these power poles, I think I should check my power. And I'm glad I did, because we are pushing the limits here of what my 2 steam engines can put out. And that's fine. The easy fix for that is to build 2 more steam engines, a boiler, another burner inserter for that boiler, and I like to top it off with 1 more pipe. Yeah, we'll extend the coal line here by 1. There we go. I think we got both steam engines built, so we'll put those into place. And I'm using Q to pick up a copy of whatever my cursor is over. So here I'm over the boiler, and if I have it in my inventory, if I hit Q, it'll automatically place it onto my cursor from my inventory, and then I can just place it down. And so I'm using that just to save a little bit of time and speed the process of placing this new steam engines and boilers. Because every second I'm not over here trying to build this base is a second farther behind and a second closer that the first spider attack gets. And the reason I use this build, and I've tested it out in 0.17 and like it so much, is because it gets me through the first set of biters and through the first series of research quickly and efficiently, at least as far as I'm concerned about it. And so now I'm going to set up my copper, and I think I'm going to line it just the same way. I'm not going to try to be extra fancy about this. We're just going to set it up and get it going. And hopefully it won't be any big deal. And we'll run that conveyor belt right up into the wrong position to stay out of the way. That's okay. Just tear it down, put it back up. And over here, for me to get copper over to here, I'm going to have to circumvent this line right here. And Factorio has provided these wonderful underground conveyor belts, which will allow the copper to flow here, go into the belt underground right here, go under and come out right here, and they'll come on. And if you see how I'm getting the iron and coal to share a conveyor belt, the phrase for that is called side loading, because what you're doing is you're loading it directly into one side and you're having something else load into the other, or somehow arrange it so that this conveyor belt stays straight instead of curving. And do I have enough? Not quite enough iron, but that's fine. We'll just take it from right here, build hopefully the last few conveyor belts I need to get copper rolling. There we go. So that should connect that up. We'll take this from here. Oh, well, I have plenty of materials now for power poles. So we'll run on over here. And now what I'm going to do is pick up some iron. And that's how much iron I get off this array, as opposed to those coal burner miners I had going. And seeing as how this looks all very well played out, I'm going to pick it all up. It served its purpose, it served it well. We've gotten through the first 3 critical. And speaking of critical, the first 3 critical researches, I'm definitely going to build that SMG and a radar. The SMG to protect, the radar to look out over everything and see the map in real time and in high definition, comparatively speaking. And now to hook up the copper here, we'll just connect it to that pole, see how far it'll go, and then bring it down here. Wow. Okay. I do have a pet peeve, which is I like symmetry and clean lines as much as possible. So, anytime something like that happens, I'm going to take a second to correct it. Okay, there we are. And speaking of clean lines and symmetry, I think we'll do that right here. Just correct that copper line a little bit, or that coal line I mean, while that copper line comes in and loads up. And that won't be a big deal. We'll just turn the conveyor belt to use the new one, and this one will keep side loading and filling in, and we'll let it get on with that. So, now I have my iron and my copper automatically set up to mine and to smelt. Now I have to consider what I want to build. And what I know I'm going to want is going to be the lifeblood of every factory, and that will be conveyor belts. And so here is where I'm going to place my gears. Here is what I'm going to have outputting transport belts. I'm going to put a chest there to collect them. And we'll just power all this up nice and smooth. Oh, that wasn't a perfectly good spot. That's what I get for thinking on old information. The next thing I'm going to do is something I didn't do last time, which is I'm going to take this opportunity to build inserters. And inserters need iron, an iron gear wheel, and electric circuits, or specifically green electric circuits. So just like my conveyor belt, we're going to have the gear machine here. It's going to feed off the line, feed directly into the inserter, which is going to feed off the line, and then that is going to be fed by a green circuit machine. And I'm going to place another green circuit machine down and 3 machines per copper cable. Now the reason I do this is because every production chain has what they call a perfect or as perfect as realistically can be ratio. And the perfect ratio for green circuits is 3 copper cable and 1 iron plate. That's the production recipe actually, which leads to a production ratio of exactly 3 cable machines to 2 electronic circuit assemblers. And right here you can see me, I'm just building this long-handed inserter so that I can output one machine directly to a chest for green circuits. This one's going to output to my inserters. My inserters are going to output to a iron chest here. And my green circuit machines are going to collect copper cable that's going to be output onto this belt. So I'm going to get that wired up. There we go. So that's almost everything functioning the way I want it to. That's fine. Yeah. If it doesn't quite fit the way you had it planned, then just pick it up, put it down again. And if it still won't fit, no place for that inserter, then we kind of fudge it. It's more important to have this producing than it is to make it pretty. If I can have it producing and pretty, I will take that every time. But if I can't, then it's more important that it actually produces. So I'm going to pick up my copper, I'm going to pick up my iron, and now I should be at a large amount of iron. So I'm going to distribute all this using Control left click to put in the maximum stack of the material that the machine can take. And I'm going to start getting these machines functioning by hand feeding them for the moment. And that frees me up, since I don't have to worry about making conveyor belts for a bit. I don't have to worry about making assemblers, and I don't have to worry about making green circuits. And wow, I still have a lot of iron left over. What am I going to put that towards? Since I have to worry about biters, I think I'm going to want to put that towards... Yep, definitely going to want to worry about putting that towards ammunition. I think I'm just going to kind of tack that on at the end here. Not because it's unimportant, but because I do have plans for all this space. There's a reason I wanted to map everything out. And I think that later on, I'll be able to use the positioning of these assemblers for ammunition, but feed them directly off the line. Maybe not, they might be in the wrong spot, but that's less important right now than like everything else. It's less important than them actually producing something useful. So, once again, I'm going to put in the max stacks. I'm going to make a few more chests here, and I'm going to fill this chest with a good amount of iron. I'm just going to control right click. You saw me control shift click there, but control right click lets me put in half the amount I have. And I need a good place for this radar, and I think I'm going to tuck it in right up there. While I'm thinking about it, before I forget again, and I can build turrets and light armor. So just in case the biters show up much earlier than I'm expecting them, I'm going to start getting ready for that. And so we're going to drop an assembler in there, pick up some conveyor belts, limit this chest down to about 3, limit this chest to 1, pick up my inserters, and now I'm going to start establishing this base to output. Or, well, to automatically output everything it produces so that everything else along the chain can pick it up and use it. There we go. I'm going to double up the outputs on my copper cable machines here, because even though they only take in 1 copper, they produce 2 copper cables. And what that means is I'm also going to want to double up the input for my green circuits here so they're producing as fast as they can. Likewise with the gear machines, since they take 2 iron plates to produce 1 gear, I want to double those up on the input but only have a singular output. And there we go. Mining is automated. Refining of those mined materials is automated. And I think I'm going to increase my power output, because the next step from here for me is to build 5 labs and start getting my sciences going. So I'm going to need 5 assembling machines for red science, 1 more for the gears to feed that red science, if you remember. If you don't worry. Red science uses copper plates and iron gears. So I want an assembly machine dedicated just to producing those iron plates and gears. And oh, I'm still building turrets. Well, we'll just cancel that real quick. I have 9. There'll be plenty for now. I say there'll be plenty. You always think you have enough up until the point that the biters take you unawares. So maybe I should more correctly say I hope that'll be plenty. And do I still have that pipe? There's that pipe. I did build that boiler. We'll plan for that burner to go there. And right now we'll just fill the boiler manually. So right now I'm actually at 33 minutes. This is running a little far over. So I'm going to see how far I can get with this in about the next 2 to 3 minutes. If nothing else, hopefully I'll be able to show you the idea of what I have in mind for this. Let's collect some ammunition. I'm going to put a couple turrets in. Right up here, I think, near that radar, which is also conveniently placed right next to our very vital coal production. And the start of our mining operations here. I could have sworn, there's the ammunition I picked up. Right now I'm just functioning on whatever I can get my hands on, really. And there we go. Now we're protected up here. Not a lot of protection, but for this early game for that area, this should be enough. And there's my assembly machines. So I'm going to space these out just to make sure there's no mishaps. I'm going to mine these trees down real quick. I hope it'll be real quick. Some YouTubers might say that the true enemy in Factorio is the trees. Me, I love the trees. They keep me safe from biters for a little bit longer because they suck up pollution. And there we go. But they do get in the way of building a very neat, tidy, planned base and array. So, like I said, these are going to be my red science. We're just going to shift right click to copy and then shift left click to place. This will be my gears. These are going to need 2 iron input, and they're going to need 1 iron output. And I'm going to run this along the back side here. I'm going to have them inputting out to there. And remember what I said about side loading for copper? Well, we're going to do that same thing with a small twist here. So the small twist is that I am going to split my copper iron line. I'm going to make output priority left be copper. And that means on the right side, it's just going to run iron, which I'm going to run straight to my gear machine. Okay, so I have these machines not perfectly placed to take advantage of that line, but that's okay. And what I'm going to do here is side load my copper in so it stays on one side. And because the inserter is going to place the gears on the far side, inserters always place the item they have on the far side of a belt. Since it's going to do that, wait, I don't need to go that far. I need to go that far. There we go. But since it's going to do that, you can already see it. It's loading up very nice, very tidily. Copper and iron gear wheels. They are distinct. They are separate so that we can make sure all the copper and all the iron gear wheels get all the way down. And then I'm going to need an output line. Let's just plop it in right here. And indeed, so glad I put in those turrets because there's the biters. And right now I have my headset on to record this, so I can't necessarily hear these biters very well when they come a-calling or any alerts. And if I'm in the middle of building something like I am right now, then the odds are that I'm probably going to miss the visual alert for them. So if you see me missing those visual alerts, yes, I really wish I wasn't, but it is a thing that happens, and it will happen, and the worst that's going to happen is that I'm going to have to rebuild something, and that's fine. I think I can deal with that. I've done it before. But there we go. We now have science automated for red science. We now have assembler production and conveyor belt production automated. We have electronic circuits automated. And we almost have true automation of ammunition. So with that, everybody, thank you for watching. This has been Isaac with Factorio 0.17.experimental on the Creative Burrows Gaming channel. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.